welcome. We have nothing to declare, folks. This is the Goldwater. If you're familiar with the show, hey, listen. You don't have to say anything, but you can say everything and anything you want over here, as long as, some basic guidelines, like don't threaten to kill people. Don't go into a synagogue.
Oh, geez.
Start rocking and rolling in there. You can't be doing that. Not good. Not good. Don't be sending fake bombs. I mean, come on. This guy, they're fake bombs. Nobody's saying it.
AP admitted that these things could not blow up.
Anyone in their right mind knows that you do not fuse a pipe bomb from the cap.
You remember ClockMed? Remember the science fair project kid, the Arab kid who...
Oh, right, yeah.
It's a clock. And it was. Sure, I get that. But the guy, the kid, his dad was a lawyer. Mm-hmm. You knew that, right?
Right.
His dad's like he was looking for an easy... Like, I believe that the teacher what teacher would be like, wow, this is a really great science fair project. Don't tell anyone about it and hide it now.
Yeah.
No, that's not what you would do.
Yeah, I took an advanced public speaking course in college, and God, I'm going to get myself in trouble for this. I can't even say this. I can't even. We were talking about it before the show, but what I said was it was a demonstration speech. So it was exactly what we were talking about before the show, and I locked all the doors. And, the whole point is to get people's attention, because that's one of the key points of public speaking. Do I have your attention? Yeah, you do. I mean, because of this, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I can't go into it in any more detail. Unfortunately, this is a world we live in. I can't even talk about why I got such a great... the professor of that class talks about that speech. I don't know, he's probably retired now, but I caught him a couple of times referring to that speech. And we, of course, can't even discuss it now. But let's talk about bombs. Fake bombs. Okay, first of all, folks, you do not fuse a pipe bomb through the caps. Doesn't work that way. You do not. In a letter bomb, why would you put a big countdown thing? Obviously, these are fake devices. They're fake devices for so many number of reasons.
The timer is set for hours when it would have been days, and besides the type of bomb it was, you wouldn't need a timer on it anyways.
We just went through this on the story behind the story, so it sounds like we're on the same show almost. Yeah. But let's just run through it for the folks that didn't catch the story behind the story. You don't use tape when you're going to be obviously under investigation. You never use tape. It's a forensic investigator's. It's a forensic investigator's wet dream if you're using tape. Okay, you might as well just say goodnight right there. And so you don't fuse a pipe bomb from the sides. You'd never use a timer. You probably wouldn't use that type of packaging. These types of bombs are detonated by opening or movement. Now, the people that are working with movement, man, that's the IRA. Okay, that's some military people that are screwing with mercury switches, which is a glass tube. And if you move it that way,
right.
Really, this isn't a joke. It completes the connection. It completes a circuit.
And literally mercurial.
And you go boom like that. So, but it's, what was interesting is I thought, I was just checking around the folks over at Demolition Ranch, who are practically banned, they're certainly financially banned from YouTube. Now, how that can happen, how this guy can have 8 million followers, and every time he puts out a video on Demolition Ranch, it goes to 1 million views within 3 days. Okay, yet he makes no money off of that. Mm-hmm. How he can make no money off of that, and everyone else that they're driving around in Lamborghinis scamming people off of Don Lapre get-rich schemes, they get to make money. Or if you're of the ilk of their thinking, you get to make money. But just because this guy, so I thought it was great. He put out a video just yesterday, and it's and I don't mind plugging the guy. It's Demolition Ranch on YouTube, and he was out to it's what is it? Tank. Oh, the name of the place is apparently it's close to Bowen, Texas, which is just north of San Antonio. And so he's out there somewhere, and he's got a bunch of tanks, and you can drive around in tanks, and you can fire them, and you can blow stuff up. But one thing that they just started doing, because these guys actually are an explosives manufacturer, is you can go and set off. You can pay, a father and son can go out there and
like
drive
a
tank.
firing range, but with bombs.
It's a firing range. You can use automatic weapons. You can drive around in a tank. You can shoot stuff with tanks. And then also what you can do, as of just recently, is you can set explosives and blow things up, because these guys make explosives. So C4 and composite explosives that they actually manufacture. So this is a cool place to be if you want to take your son or your daughter out to a nice range, and the firing range doesn't quite do it. Go to I can't remember the name of the place, but if you go to the last video on Demolition Ranch, where he's got a hand grenade, a German hand grenade that they were playing around with. Definitely do that. Don't be scared of fake bombs, all right, folks? I mean, there are real bombs out there, but bombs in explosives, learning more about them can be fun. Tanks, blowing stuff up, automatic weapons. You don't have to, automatically assume that those things are necessarily bad. They're actually historically relevant. And having people understand this at a very young age will allow. I mean, how else are you going to get a kid that's going to make explosives? What if a kid wants to make explosives for a living? I mean, that's a legitimate occupation. What if he wants to be, demolish buildings? What if he wants to go in and be one of the demolition experts? And you have to, I mean, a lot of us, I don't know, did you like burning stuff?
Oh, yeah. I remember my mom got worried about me because I would go back to the back of the house, and I would light off matches and, just watch them burn, or burn a little pile of leaves. And, I'm a 13-year-old boy, and I like to watch shit burn, I'm a 13-year-old boy. Oh no, is Philip a pyromaniac? No. Okay, a pyromaniac wants to burn houses. Who doesn't think fires look cool?
Oh man.
Fire's cool.
What. Yeah. Being able to set fires and be able to blow stuff up is really cool. I mean, it's things that go boom are cool. And I mean, I actually met a couple girls in my life that like things that go boom, which is like, to me, I don't know. There's no bigger turn on. I don't know, this is really weird, but that's something that's just wow. Someone who appreciates explosions and destruction and, the physics of it and the science of it. And I mean, just being able to do it in a controlled way, it's very dangerous, and you need to know what you're doing. Right. And so
So don't follow the recipes in the Anarchist Cookbook, which was written by Cohen.
No, you just do not. I mean, the thing is that you cannot tell people in this day and age. It was something that your science teacher was often making things go boom, and that's a path that he chose. I don't know if you all had a science teacher that made something explode, but it's certainly, I never ran across anyone in my childhood or anyone else ever that would ever want to hurt somebody with a firearm or an explosive, ever. You know,
Yeah,
whether you're shooting.
I like to see a fire, but I don't want to burn a house down.
Yeah,
There's definitely a line there, of course.
I mean, the first thing that you're going to do if you're out, you're going to obviously pour a gallon of gasoline on a propane tank and shoot it with a 308. I mean, that's obviously, and you know what? I did that one time, and this is way back in the 80s, folks. So hey, I was pretty young when I was doing this. But we have a video of this, and it's just one of those blowtorch propane tanks, not the big ones, okay? Because we wanted to see what would happen. We were smart. We were in a secluded area. It was the dead of winter. We had fire extinguishers. We ended up shooting those too afterwards. But so we poured a gallon of gas on this propane tank and set it on fire. And my thought was, we should let it burn for a while. And we'll shoot it with a 22 and see if that works. I doubt it will go through, but we had a 308 on standby. So of course we shot it with the 22, nothing happened. And then this flame is starting and of course I think somebody had misplaced the magazine or was looking at some of the 308 rounds or something, and so we had to find it. And in the meantime, this thing's burning. And so we load it and then just shoot it. And we're expecting this thing to go boom. I mean, really. And we're standing a long ways away. I mean, we were probably like 150 yards away because we didn't know what was going to happen. But again, nothing, dead of winter, isolated valley. And we've got this on video. The entire fire, what was supposed to be this glorious explosion, it completely imploded and froze the ground, and there was this weird fog because the propane, for whatever reason,
I'm thinking.
What happened was that I hit right on the bottom part of the tank with the 308 shot because we were backed off, and it was sighted for 100 yards. So the bullet had dropped a little bit and it hit the bottom, and just the pressure of the propane going out all at once didn't give the propane itself enough chance to light on fire and extinguish this flaming gasoline puddle that we had, a gallon of gasoline. So what was supposed to go boom was a very interesting science experience where it froze everything. Instead of being hot and blazing, everything was frozen on the ground, and there was this mystic fog. So I don't know. It's
remember the tannerite that the supposed Las Vegas shooter with Paddock? What was the story? He had tannerite that was he was supposedly trying to hit some fuel tank of some sort with. Do you remember that?
Was there a video of him doing that, or was he?
No. They said he had pounds and pounds of tannerite.
Placed tannerite around.
Tannerite,
by the way, is something that people use commonly. It's used all the time on ranges.
Powder,
Well, when it experiences a high impact, it explodes, and so you put bags of it on ranges, and it goes boom. I mean, people shouldn't be scared to talk about this, or YouTube should certainly not be defunding, deplatforming.
Remember in the 90s when the internet was cool and you could find all the stuff that had been circulated in the BBS era?
Oh man,
of the
I used
text files. You could learn how to use the Script Kiddie toolbox, like credit card. What do you call it? Credit card number generators, and learn to build bombs and all this kind of,
how to make free long distance calls.
So by the time I was 16, I was already on 5 or 6 watch lists, and I've been collecting them ever since.
Oh my Lord. Who's been sitting in these chairs? Here we go.
Let's see.
Yeah, so
ammonium nitrate and tannerite he had at his home, and then there was they were saying that he supposedly was aiming for some huge fuel tank or something, and I don't know. I don't even know if it would be literally possible, even with ammonium nitrate. And now ammonium nitrate, that's pretty much what the Timothy McVeigh used, right?
Well, you use
basic
ammonium
info bomb,
nitrate, but you have to put that into a. You're basically making nitroglycerin.
Mm-hmm.
So ammonium nitrate in diesel fuel. Well, this is common knowledge, folks.
You got two volatile gases right there.
Well, it actually has a chemical reaction where it gets into a somewhat stable explosive form, but it's not extremely stable. So ammonium nitrate is typically what you need for nitroglycerin. And so that's what Timothy McMahon, fertilizer bombs. And that's what, for example, Dude Man in Norway was using. So, yeah.
That's why when people tell me, oh, we need gun control. Really? Right after that, I reckon, my great-granddad was a gunsmith. He knew how to work a lathe.
Mm-hmm.
So after gun control, we'll need metal control and lathe control. And then eventually they'll realize, wait a minute, urine and feces contain compounds that you can use to, and then they'll have to watch us use the restroom, and we'll have excreta control. Where does it end?
No.
If it starts with gun control, it ends with excreta control, and you're not able to operate a lathe.
Well, now I noticed Michael Moore was one of the first guys to come out, and of course he is in the famous. Just what a filthy human being! Really, just filthy, annoying. He's a guy. Really, he's somebody that if he was over at your house, and let's just say that you were dating this girl and you decided that you were going to have Thanksgiving at your place, right? And Michael Moore was a friend of the family or something. This is a guy that if he asked you where your bathroom was, you would just not want to tell him. Doesn't he just look like a guy that you just don't want to use? He does not belong in your house, in a kitchen, in a bathroom.
Oh, I'd piss on him, but I'd stop before I put him out.
He's just... So anyway, he came out with this video apparently of having this fake pipe bomber, a video of him, Sayak, doing this at a Trump rally. And so,
Caesar Sayak,
like that just means something, But if you look at his social media, and Dr. Rowe or Mr. Rowe on the Story Behind the Story was talking about this. None of this really makes sense because if you look at his social media profile, he really doesn't have if you're a conservative, you're going to be. Even if you disagree with Laura Ingraham, you're going to be having her. If you're engaged in politics and you're bombing people, you're going to be following and subscribed to so many different people, even folks you disagree with, right?
Yeah.
And this guy just didn't even have that. It was just odd. It seemed fabricated. And of course, it turns out that he is anti-Trump.
One thing that, are you talking about the synagogue bomber?
No, I'm talking about the fake pipe bomber.
Oh, yeah. I also noticed a lot of people talking about how his feed seemed to be sort of robotic. He would post the same memes over and over again.
Yeah.
For months it was,
No, he's just maintaining that account, and it wasn't, something that... It didn't seem like there was a lot of human interaction in that.
I was really expecting something like this to happen, though, because Washington Post and others have already been working to, not just discredit, but build a paranoia around the QAnon. It's the new, just like the 9/11 truthers. It's the same deal, and so we've got to, create this this correlation between. From the 80s on, it's been, be careful. People who don't trust the government are, usually fundamentalist terrorists in hiding,
Yeah, craziness. So that's what's shaking. Doesn't look like we have a link up on our site yet for the show, so we should get that up for any of you folks that may have the con. Maybe put that Twitch link up there, so that way some folks might be able to watch it and we can ask for some callers. Be fun to have some callers. Wow. So, hey, Bolsonaro, my God, yeah? Come
Oh,
on.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
isn't that just the best? Okay, this is the fourth largest democracy in the world. This is the biggest thing ever. And you're talking about South America, the resources of South America. And they're just talking, hey, Bolsonaro and Trump, I can't wait. They've already got a trip planned for them to come up.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to get, I mean, can you imagine all of the resources, all of the oil, all of the mineral, all of the lumber, okay? And we're not going to cut down the rainforest. That's going to be the big one. Oh, man, the rainforest. But, I mean, come on. Brazil has a massive timber industry, okay? Good stuff. Really great
Oh,
wood.
right. Yeah. Didn't, what was it? Gibson got in trouble for using some sort of Brazilian heartwood
Oh.
a few years back.
You know
a
what?
year or
Actually,
two.
I had some of that stuff. It's great stuff.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, the whole point is that when you have deals of this nature and you're making a trade agreement with wood, timber products, tiles, for example, down near Florianopolis and down where the folks are speaking German. Some of the biggest tile manufacturers, ceramic tiles, are down there. The resources are incredible. They can export energy. Okay, so they've got oil resources, and it's a great place to clean up and have people do business on a regular kind of level, because Brazilians, you've got this two factions of it. You got the people that, well, if everybody else is just going to be taking it, I might as well. But the minute that a law comes down or somebody's looking, they'll clean their act up almost immediately. So it's not that kind of deep, dark, like dark part of your soul kind of corruption. It's opportunistic corruption down there. And if they've got an opportunity to walk on the wrong side of the law or make a decent amount of money doing something legit, Brazilians, I mean, in general, are very kind-hearted, open people that really do care about each other. They'll take their own on the side, but what they're battling is this massive power that is, just the cocaine and the meth, the number of and arms dealers, believe it or not.
Oh, no, I don't doubt it at all.
In the northern part of Brazil.
Since the 70s, South America, the drug trade, and gun running that's going back and forth. They say that the CIA created crack cocaine. I believe Gary Johnson.
I do.
And you know why, right? Because drugs and illegal gun running has always been used as a black op. You know, you got your black budget projects, which are funded by black ops, right? And so when you got the Sandinistas, they're trading cocaine for guns. And then all of a sudden there's this glut of cheap cocaine. What do? Hey, let's add baking soda, make it 10 times as addictive, and jack up the price.
Yeah, and Gary Johnson, the one you're referring to, is the San Jose Mercury News reporter.
Or not Gary Johnson, that's the libertarian. Gary Webb.
Gary
Dark
Webb.
Alliance. With,
Gary Webb.
Was he with the Miami Herald? I don't know. He was with the Miami paper.
Yeah, he was with the San Jose Mercury News.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
He
I don't know what I'm
committed
thinking.
suicide by taking 2 in the back of the head.
Yeah.
A la Clinton, by the way. A lot of that cocaine, actually 100% that we know,
Arkansas.
going into Mena, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Who was governor?
Good old Bill Clinton.
Who wants to be president? His wife. Okay,
the
rock
movie
out.
American Made. Did you see that with Tom Cruise? They were going to call it Mena. The movie was going to be called Mena, but then listen, and it was supposed to come out before the election, but it didn't, and they changed it to American Made, and coincidentally, Tom Cruise almost died during a stunt that killed a stuntman. I'm not saying that maybe that was somebody's. Now listen, the next time it's not just going to be a stuntman that dies.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got no doubt that the likely the first draft of the script for Mena, when it was still called Mena, was likely very much more interesting than what American Made.
No, they had to wash it out because it was a Clinton thing. and that gets washed. I mean, that's the reason. But in Brazil,
it's washed like money through what was it, Rose Law Firm.
It's incredible news for Brazil. And Brazilians are sure you're not going to see, people are going to go back to work. And their interest in politics, as far as the mass of the population, isn't exactly the same as the United States. When it's like a soccer match, okay? It's like the World Cup.
Right.
Everybody's talking about it, and that's nothing. I mean, you just really want to get into it, and they vote. Well, actually, they're required by law to vote. I don't know. A lot of people don't know that it is the law. You have to vote.
Yeah. I know there's some Eastern European countries that have the same law, which is stupid. I'm sorry, I'm against that.
Yeah, I think it should be. If you want to vote, you should. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you should have the right voting, to. You should have the right to abstain. Most likely, I mean, my argument.
You shouldn't make people vote if they don't want to make an informed decision. They're likely not going to make an informed decision.
Well, my argument is that the government isn't responsible enough at the moment. The bureaucracy isn't responsible enough at the moment to maintain a database in a secure way for my information, my voter register information, to be private. So that is the reason, primarily, I think, as a libertarian generally in that arena, you shouldn't be forced to vote, because if you're forced to vote, that means that you're forced to give a government agency which isn't equipped to keep that private information that you might want to keep private. So, but congratulations, Brazil. This is awesome.
To be fair, though, with those giant Experian and Equifax data breaches, chances are, if you've got a credit record, it's available for $60 at the deep web.
I don't. Isn't that cool?
Oh, yeah,
Isn't
exactly.
Cool? Yeah. So, congratulations, Brazil. That's awesome. And everything will cool down over there. I know it was a little heated, but the one thing that did not help, was to shut down Gab the day before the election.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what the Brazilians are thinking right now? I mean, this is not a victory for the left, shutting down Gab. This is, and you're doing it right before the midterms, you're doing it right after the synagogue deal, you're blaming it on the synagogue deal, but hey, let's forget that Facebook is live streaming murder,
and
suicides.
Has been implicated in multiple cases of child exploitation and trafficking as well.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, I mean, we can go on and on about the abuse, the child abuse, the porn on live, Facebook Live.
So this guy had a Gab account, and he was, committed a crime.
You know what? We were talking to one of our engineers over here, White Knight, great guy. I mean, he's an incredible network engineer, and we work with him in the background. But he made a comment. He said, "Well, why not just ban the guy's favorite soft drink? Because hey, I mean, the guy was drinking RC Cola, for God's sakes. Okay, RC." I'm sorry, we're going to pull all of your products off the shelf. Worldwide, just get rid of it all. But no, this guy was on Facebook, he was on Twitter, he was on so many other social media networks. And just because he was on Gab and was speaking his mind means that you have to shut down, 1 million plus people overnight. What on earth are you thinking? What did I do wrong? What did this company do wrong?
Before they shut themselves down, they were getting DDoSed, right? Just like
they were hitting Gab with denial of service attacks.
The last time that I tried to visit the site was last night. While I was posting stories, and
part of the reason
they had their little explanation of why they're temporarily down. I hope temporarily.
They were backing up. They have to back up a lot of data before they move, because God forbid the truck. They're going to have to pull their servers out of racks. Do you know how many screws that is? Just think about the number of screws. Believe me, I've moved colo to colo to colo, and It is a nightmare. It is just the number of screws that you have to undo for a rack of servers, and the number of cables, and the sheer weight of, and making sure that equipment gets transported, because their servers, their racks and racks of servers are getting evicted. So it's just like somebody saying, you move now, 24 hours. And you have to back up all your data, because God forbid anything should happen to your servers. You put that in a van and it crashes or something. So now you need a huge pipe that you have to open up the maximum amount of bandwidth to go to a second site where you're going. And so what you were probably seeing in the latency right after the announcement was they were using all of their bandwidth. The reason you couldn't get to the site was most likely because they were using as much bandwidth as they could
sort of mirror it
to make a backup,
or migrate rather.
Their core elements, the core elements of their site, and hopefully the people involved in that. I know a lot of people are chipping in. A lot of providers. There's some ISPs that step forward. It would be a good idea to find a way to separate this out so that you can have, that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, and you can quickly switch around with Cloudflare or something like that.
Well, I guess this is a good time to segue into, I think we both agree on this, what Gab did wrong. I understand that they're scared. I understand that they don't have the clout to. You remember? It wasn't Samsung, iPhone and the terrorists? No, we're not going to give you the skeleton key to unlock every iPhone in the world,
and then they had
even
to go
if
to the
it will
Israelis.
stop a terrorist, maybe.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what did they do wrong? No.
They offered I understand working with the authorities, as in. Doing what you're legally obligated to do. But from what I've heard, they may have done more than that, kind of out of fear.
There's an option, okay, and you've got this, and for example, ISPs have it. It's called a transparency statement,
right? And
it says, hey, we're going to tell you when your information is breached. And as of our obligation, so if we get a subpoena, summons, or warrant, and the government is asking about you, our immediate response is going to say, hey, the state of Massachusetts just sent us a subpoena, and this is what they want. We're going to give it to them, or we're not going to give it to them. But they notify you, they tell you. And so that's your baseline transparency. In this particular case, I don't think you have cases where when something's clear, then it's kind of like, I don't want that guy on my network. And it's just like, here's the exception. So I think every provider, like we have that obligation. If there's just somebody that, okay, the basic rules, but if you're just being an idiot, and we don't like you around, and you're doing other things that are borderline, like FISA entrapment or FOSTA entrapment, I should say, and you're doing stupid things and doxing people, then anything you say, we just don't like you. And that's fine. I mean, we'll just continue to get rid of you. And so there are exceptions. The statement that you're referring to, and I see this, and they need to, make a clear statement about it. People are inferring that Gab turned over all of our user data to the FBI, and that would just be astonishingly. I mean, that would just be stupid for them to do it. That would be the end of their entire business model.
This is also the company that was using Microsoft Azure for. Remember when they were shut down because of Patrick Little saying something?
Okay.
And it was because they relied on Microsoft Azure for their servers.
You're talking about somebody making a conscious decision hand over all of our private information over? Well, first of all, if you're using Gab, I'm sorry, but I'm not terribly concerned about it, because anyone putting their private information on a social media network, I mean, come on, who hasn't? You should be expecting it. So, but somebody handing it over themselves, okay, I don't see any proof of it. I see people chatting about it, and I see people misinterpreting that they handed over this one guy's information and were proactive about it. But I see nowhere where the guy is saying he handed out everyone's information. Why would he do that? I mean, was that some sort of deal? Because he lost. And by the way, it wasn't the government that decided to shut him down. It was the ISP because they're getting points with the liberals, okay? And
ever since Charlottesville, the game has changed.
So
when Cloudflare decided, you know what? We're going to let the Daily Stormer go down today because we don't like the way they talk.
Well, and so Joynet got in, and they're just waiting for something like this to happen. It's on the list. And so what they're going to do is they're going to take down Gab, and then they're going to take down all of the Christian networks, which we had, who was it that just went down along with them? Where was it? Here we go. We should have a different
LifeSite?
Yeah, LifeSite. We should have a different headline on this. It's under Please Pray, Alex Jones Styles takedown of LifeSite. LifeSite, you know, they're Christian. So what? I mean, what's the big deal? What are they doing? And it's just another one of these deals where now they're paving the way for internet service providers to take you down. And so if you're a liberal internet service provider owner, and I can't even tell you how just crazy how just disgusting that entire thought is, because, I mean, my career way back when, my entire career was owning and operating internet service providers. And the thought of me shutting somebody down because I don't agree with their politics is insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
it definitely goes against the fabric of the people who built the internet.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
this is not what they had in mind.
It would be like
20, 30 years or
having sex with your mother or something. You know, it'd be like having sex with your brother or something. I mean, it's just something that would never come into your mind. It would be just, Jesus, how could you possibly do that? And today, it's like, why would you? How could they get to this point? I just don't get it. But, you know, great timing, folks, and this is going to blow up in your face. You do it right before the midterms. And, hey, look, Bolsonaro won despite you shutting down Gab, and that may not have been the main reason, but take a look at how many Brazilians went to Gab after they got shut down by Twitter.
The timing on all of this is very suspicious.
What are they going to think? What are they going to think? Now, you can just basically write off America, okay? But now you've got a fresh country with a fresh leader, and their supporters got shut down by Twitter, and the day before Bolsonaro, their choice, got elected, Gab got shut down. Now, what are they going to be saying about the state of affairs in the world regarding this liberal censorship? I mean, they're not happy with it, and they've got a real powerful starting point right now.
Gab was already on a hit list. It was at the top of the hit list. Or near the top of the hit list. Deplatforming. We're
on a hit list, and so we're going to be like LifeSite. We're not the person that's going to, that they're going to target. They're going to target like the InfoWars, and there's going to be a thousand other people below it, and we're on a list of that 1,000. They just haven't gotten to us. Well, certainly they got to us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. By the way, hey, can we check to see when our YouTube ban is up? I'm really I'm getting a hard on. I know I shouldn't say that, but really, I mean, I want to get on YouTube, and we need to do a special show to see when, how quickly we can get rebanned without doing anything, folks.
Without doing anything.
I mean, we won't even mention
goes against their terms of service.
I mean,
that's the trick, and it doesn't take that much, honestly.
No. I mean, we'll have a whole list of things that we can't say, and we won't. I promise we won't. We won't talk about false flags or bombs or anything like that.
Gas the bikes, race cars now. Gas the bikes, race cars now.
Gas the
bikes,
gas the
race
kikes?
cars. I didn't say that. I said gas the bikes, race car now.
Race war. Yeah.
Right, yeah. No, seriously, evidently YouTube messes with people's comments in live chats now. So I've seen that being used as a workaround.
Oh, right. I see. Okay, got it. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible what's going on with this Gab stuff. How hopefully they'll be back up fairly soon, and I hope that they get a lot more support. That's the type of stuff that people like to root for the underdog.
Yeah,
and I don't know, man.
It's like somebody doesn't realize that the Streisand effect exists.
Mm-hmm.
If you strike me down now, I will be even more powerful than It is.
Yeah. Oh, we had a great one. Maybe this is something we can put up on the for our listeners, our viewers here. We have I'll post this in studio. This is funny. You got to watch this. It's too bad it's just a photo, but I love this. I mean, of course, I've spent a decent amount of time in San Francisco, and of course, we have certainly some issues with the Ninth Circuit Court, which is, and I actually commented on this. So maybe we'll get this up. There's a photo. Here's a photo of a guy, and yeah. I mean, I guess the headline's okay. I mean, hobo pisses. Sure, why not? San Francisco hobo pisses on the Ninth Circuit Court following ruling against prosecuting homeless. And so here's our guy. Oh, and maybe there is some video. I don't know if there is. Yeah, I think there might be video on it. But anyway, this is home of Nancy Pelosi. This is home of, this is the petri dish of liberalism. And so there's our friend right there. That is the Ninth Circuit Court. You walk by there. It's just right near, it's actually in Soma, which is kind of a border area. The homeless do camp around there, and they sleep there at night. And what they do in the morning is they come by with these water trucks that are normally supposed to be washing the streets, but they've actually switched out. They've customized them so that high pressure water goes up, and it's pretty cruel. And there's all the new diseases that they're. That's the petri dish, folks. And so, what was supposed to meant for being washing the sidewalks, they actually have a lever, which is, and they had to customize this just for San Francisco. It angles up 15 degrees, so that you've got high pressure cold water going at usually at about 4 o'clock in the morning for anyone that's sleeping on the street. They just spray all these people down with extremely cold water, and it can get cold there. But they do it at the same time, and so people who just happen to be falling asleep there, they shouldn't be there in the first place, correct? And I don't have a problem with it. But these are the same people that are just worshiping the homeless in some way. But, I mean, come on. So the argument is hey, I mean, I made a comment on this article. I said, hey, maybe we should put that guy in charge of the Ninth Circuit Court. You probably couldn't do any worse than pissing on it right now. Because, right. I mean, it's a joke. That's the highest, I mean, no other court has had so many decisions overturned. It's madness there. I think that we shouldn't try to change it. I think we should just get rid of it.
Seattle's doing the same. Like there's we did the story about the Snap Crap app.
Oh, right.
Where because the streets are so bad in San Francisco, you've got to have special maps and keep up with geotagging locations.
You have to geotag feces. Yeah.
In Seattle, the new mayor, because they had that mayor, but he raped little boys, so they got rid of him. Well, the new mayor, who hasn't been caught raping little boys yet, has decided that it's racist. It's racist to clean up crap on the street. And say don't crap. It's racist to tell people not to crap in the street.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's patronizing.
You don't.
That is condescending. Is that what you think of minorities? Well, minorities don't know any better than to not crap in the street.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's racist.
So bad. I mean, you could go into it never ends. It devolves and goes into this craziness, and it spins all around. And man, I mean, you even have conservatives right now that are kind of going a little haywire. I can't remember who it was. I took the time to go in and comment on this woman that she was talking about Gab, and she said, well, they should be shut down because, you know what, I just think that the people that are running it are Nazis. And it's like, whoa, you're supposed to be a conservative?
The Hindi guy and Torba's not Jewish, but he's also some minority.
Cares?
So you got a couple of minorities here, right? But yeah, the Nazi Twitter is what a lot of liberals call it. Yeah.
The whole point would be it shouldn't matter, right? Isn't that your argument? It shouldn't matter, right? That's a liberal argument. It shouldn't matter. That's my argument. It shouldn't matter who owns the damn thing because the what it's doing as what it's serving as is good. Okay, whether you like who owns it or not. It's good. Now, if somebody's screwing around with private information, I got a problem with that. But I think a lot of that, it's overblown. But if I'm wrong, then sure, burn the guy.
Oh, I hope you're wrong.
I mean, drag him.
I mean, I don't know yet.
I shouldn't be hoping to be wrong because I haven't seen anything that
I don't think that they would maliciously. I don't believe that they're a honeypot, so to speak.
No.
But I know that they've made at least one. Kind of faux pas at some point when they took their design template and tried to scale it up. Evidently, they left some kind of disturbing security vulnerabilities.
Well,
and I believe they got that fixed.
Was that done on purpose?
Yeah,
was that
exactly.
a management? Did somebody sit down in a boardroom and say, "Hey, you know what? Let's expose all of our user data"?
I don't believe that. I don't believe it's malicious.
Facebook or Twitter,
but I can see them out of fear. Maybe going a little.
I mean,
above
you could really pick it apart, but I mean, what information on Facebook hasn't been breached at this point? When their numbers come out, they're in the hundreds of millions, tens of millions at the minimum when they have a security breach. So to say that Gab's not going to have one, to implicate them and say that they sat down at the boardroom table and, wow, let's expose this, and somebody's making the decision to use a specific type of software because it's going to get breached. I mean, to see that kind of argument and to see these conservatives come out and say, well, you know what, Gab's, they should have gotten banned because I don't like the owner. Those people, they say, well, the owner is dangerous. I'm like, your thinking is dangerous. Your thinking is terribly dangerous. And there are people that are coming out. I mean, surprise. And the bottom line is, don't use Gab then, okay? If you think Facebook, your information, first of all, you got to be pretty stupid to put any personal information on Facebook to start with. If you're any private communication that you don't want the world to know, you shouldn't be using Facebook. You shouldn't be talking on Skype, and I certainly wouldn't be talking on Gab. Mm-hmm. I mean, you need to own your equipment.
Yeah, people say
folks.
The same thing about Discord. Oh, Discord's a honeypot, and they save all your chat logs, right? I just pretty much assume anything I say on the internet is being archived for the next 500 years anyways.
You have to assume that, okay?
AI anthropologists will be poring over everything that was ever said for centuries.
Any photograph of you is going to get out there, and it's impossible to get back. So if you're a privacy fanatic, act like one. Don't be, some... Monday morning quarterback and say, oh, well, yeah, this and that. And that's what's going on right now. And they're criticizing Gab. Then don't use it. Okay, don't use it. That's the whole point. But to shut them down was wrong. To shut them down for the reason that they gave was wrong. An ISP claiming that they're terms of service. At this particular point, when you're hosting 1 million people, you're a utility company, and you should take very, very cautious steps to how and who you're providing that. You shouldn't take the contract if you think there's a risk of them breaking your terms of service. You shouldn't accept their money, period. So that's my point. I don't see it. I think, the very fact is, why didn't it happen 6 months ago? Why did it happen to have to take this one guy who goes, and he's a user? Why don't they ban Verizon?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did he talk to anyone? I mean, did he?
He evidently had a Facebook account too.
But here's the thing: was Gab? It wasn't even him. It was like Gab wasn't used to. Like, why don't you ban WhatsApp? Because terrorists use it.
Not just terrorists. The WhatsApp's got a huge... Remember, there was 1 week where I had 3 stories where child predators... In 1 week alone, there were 3 who were using WhatsApp to find children to exploit.
People that are trading
ban
child
WhatsApp.
porn on,
you got terrorists and child exploit. Yeah.
And here's the thing. Those are 2 people that are committing a crime, that are talking to each other, and they're using that network to communicate and collude to have that crime happen.
What is
this guy was going to go do it
anyway,
okay? This guy was going to go shoot up the synagogue regardless. He just said, I'm going to go do it. And then you ban him, but you don't.
I'm going in.
Yeah. And he says he's going in. It's a statement. He's not getting help from other people. Gab is not being used as a source for him to get bullets. He's not buying ammunition or parts for his gun or swords or anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic poetry through anything. There's no communication, no help going on, and yet you get him. But again, you can trade child porn.
Ezra Pound?
You can trade child porn on Facebook, or you can use WhatsApp as an integral part of a terrorist attack. You can use that platform and make it key, and those guys are totally free and clear.
Facebook and YouTube have also been used for dissemination of terrorist propaganda and recruiting.
No.
But, once again, but what we're worried about is people being radicalized by the intellectual dark web.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan, and I love what that's the dumbest meme. I mean, it came from the left, and the left can't meme though. But yeah, the intellectual dark web.
Mm-hmm.
I laugh every time I hear that word, and the people that they try, folks that they try and create this correlation between folks like Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan and Alex Jones and say Richard Spencer or whoever, who's the guy Jared Taylor of the National Policy Institute or whatever. Yeah, it's ridiculous though, because those types of people don't like Jordan Peterson, and Jordan Peterson is fairly philo-Semitic. He believes that he's been asked about the Jewish question before, and he doesn't believe that it has anything to do with that Jewish overrepresentation in certain fields has nothing to do with nepotism. No, it's just because they're smarter and more hardworking. I mean, I don't know, sounds sort of Jewish supremacist, but whatever, man.
I mean, you could make that argument with any number of things. It depends on the situation, but to say, I don't know, I got a problem with Jews saying that they're chosen, right? I got a problem with anyone that walks into a room and thinks they're better than anyone else, unless they are like a better football player.
Right,
Jews are not good football players, right?
But to be fair, think of it, with Judaism and Hinduism do have their religions that are hard-coded with one of the most basic fundamental premises is, by the way, you are born better than everybody else in the world. In Hinduism, you can't, sorry, Hare Krishnas, you're not real. You can't become a person, in the Hindu worldview, cows, in the term goyim, that's in the Talmud, for instance, the word for Gentiles, it basically means cattle. The difference with that in Hinduism is I guess they considered cows holier than most humans who weren't born, as one of the Indian subcontinent's chosen people. But yeah, I mean, like when it comes right down to it, right down to their religion and culture begins with the basic premise that you're the only one who's saved. In our religion, you're the one who's saved, and everybody else is not quite as human. Now, every culture has had that. There's a Chinese myth where God was creating people, and He started in Northeast Asia, and He was taking the clay or the mud or whatever, and then He got tired or bored, and then just starts like throwing them every which way, which is why Chinese people, Northeast Asians, are more fully human. Like everybody has had myths and cosmology related to how Naples is the center of the universe, Athens is the center of the universe, Calcutta everybody thought they were the center of the universe. But yeah, as far as that idea holding out, well, yeah, Indians who are Hindus and people who take the idea of the Toranical idea that Jews are the quote-unquote chosen people, yeah, they've basically got a sort of supremacist ideology hard-coded.
We need to switch over just a little bit. We do have an article that came out, this is about 4 hours ago, but there was a shooting in Florida that you're probably not hearing about. Fox News does have a little blip on their website, but I haven't seen it anywhere. Of course, CNN's not going to be reporting this. Nobody else is. It was a drive-by shooting, it looks like, at the Florida GOP headquarters. And those are real bullets that are going into a Republican headquarters, okay? And whether or not people were in there, they don't think that anyone was in there. They're not reporting any injuries, any casualties at all. But this is not getting reported. Fake bombs are, but real bullets aren't. You see what I mean?
Ricin.
Yeah, Ricin. Forget
that wasn't considered a big deal.
This is real here. This is real bullets going through.
The guy that threatened to shoot Republican senators over Kavanaugh. Talk about a blip, I
know. I mean, baseball games or softball games. I mean, all of this stuff is so. Anyway, I wanted to make sure that we mention that before the end of the show. Also, we're going to be back online on the Story Behind the Story. True is going to be hosting again. If you missed last week, you should be able to see us in our video section at thegoldwater.com. But you can go and see or listen to us again, Revolution Radio. That's 7 p.m. on Monday. Or no, I'm sorry, Friday. Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. That's revolution.radio. And then you can just go to thegoldwater.com and we should have a link up for you to listen into that. True is going to be back. And hopefully this will be the first show that we've got news of Alex Redfoot being out. So, yeah, that'll be exciting. And to be able to start writing about that story is going to be incredible. It will be. It's something that I'm just can't wait to get done here. It's an incredible story. It's very sad, but it needs to be told. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, we always make sure to point people towards Alex's website. They don't like to, they kind of get scared about some of this stuff, but if you want to be scared, if you're scared, just say you're scared. Go to labvirus.com. That's LABVIRUS.com. And that is Alex Studer's website, affectionately known here as Redfoot. So we're we'll keep you posted on that. And let's see, what do we have running the rest of this week? We're going to be going through the midterms. We'll have, already got an interview with Scott Ruby, and he's got the Senate at +3. So Scott Ruby is our midterm pollster. He is going to be giving his predictions. And here's a guy who has been in Washington for quite some time. And I can't think of a race, a significant race that he has ever really been off on. Believe it or not, he was up in the air on Trump, and that was the most wrong I think he'd been. He thought Trump would win, and I mean, he just wasn't as confident early up. So we're going to look forward to that. I hope you all have a wonderful week.
Don't forget to visit the Goldwater and check out if you scroll down, you can see all our social media. So you can get hooked up with us up there, subscribe to YouTube and get our Facebook and Twitter feed. Yeah.
Godspeed, folks. Have a wonderful week.
Until then.
Yeah, real bullets.
Yeah.